Hey everyone, I'm the anime broker. Today I spend 24 hours researching on every single demon in Demon Slayer and found some shocking secret about their power that you didn't even know about. To not waste any of your time, let's get into it. Before we jump into each demon power, let me explain how they got their power in the first place. Each demon power is very unique, but some are similar to others. Their power does not come randomly. Each one is related to their backstory when they were still human. For example, the upper 4 demon had an illness called emotion disorder that prevented him from having any other feeling than fear. He decided to become a demon, and somehow his blood demon art allowed him to create any other clone with different emotions as he needed in the battle. So basically, they train and create their power by themselves. Muzan just gives them the key to make it possible. Let's talk about the first demon that we ever saw on screen. Tanjiro's zombie sister, Nezuko. She has a blood demon art that lets her create pink flames to burn other demons. How cool is that? It's related to her being a new generation of the sun-breathing bloodline. She also has a demon slayer mark, but it's different from Tanjiro's. It looks like a leaf. Some people think she got it from her mom, who might have come from a secret breathing bloodline that nobody knows about. To use her flame blood demon art, she has to cut herself and throw her blood at the enemies. Like in this scene, if we slow down the video, we can see her using her nail to poke through her palm and throw her blood at the upper 4 demon. She is very different from other demons because she doesn't have to eat humans to recover. She just needs to take a nap. She only has one horn that appeared in Season 2 when she fought Daki. She should have 2 horns, but because she is not a fully developed demon and she doesn't eat humans, she is weaker than she should be. So in theory, she could be twice as strong as this if she ate humans like other demons. Next up, we have the first demon that Tanjiro and Nezuko met for the first time. This demon doesn't have any blood demon art, but he has a very special ability. He can move his hair and use it as a weapon, just like Daki in Season 2. The third demon is the demon in Final Selection. He also didn't develop any blood demon art yet, but because he has consumed so many humans, he has the ability to make a lot of arms from his body and use it as an aimor to protect his neck from get cut by Demon Slayer. His hand was strong enough to break through dirt and attack his enemies from the ground. The fourth demon is the 3-clone demon who likes to catch and eat girls who just turned 16. This demon has lived for a long time and has developed his blood demon art and cloned himself into 3 different personalities. One is normal, one is angry, and the other one is a bit stupid and doesn't know how to talk. Their blood demon art can also create a domain expansion, which is the swamp that they live in. And that's not all. They can also make a portal to teleport anywhere they want to go. That's how he managed to kidnap more than 20 girls in the town without anyone noticing. But their primary attack are just their claw and some speed if he is in his domain. The 5th demon is the pair of demons that Tanjiro met when he visited Miss Tamayo in Tokyo. Muzan lied to them and said they were part of the 12 Kizuki, but their power is actually quite impressive. They never met each other in their entire lives, but they work together like a dream team. The girl's blood demon art is that she can turn her blood into Damari balls. They look like balls, but they are actually made of her flesh and blood. She can also create more arms, which is normal for a higher level demon. I wouldn't say that's a blood demon art at all. Her blood demon art are related to her because she liked to play that ball when she was young. The man, on the other hand, has a magical blood demon art. He can move things with his eyeball power by making invisible arrows. I call it magic because he doesn't use his blood and he dresses like a wizard. His blood demon art related to him because he is a sorcerer when he was a human. So he develops his blood demon art base on his magic. Next we have Yushiro. Yushiro also uses magic blood demon art. He can make himself invisible, but his main attack is just hand-to-hand combat without much martial arts skill. The other upside is that he can use his dark magic to make objects invisible, or to shapeshift other humans. He used that magic to hide Master Kagaya Ubuyashiki's only son from Muzan. He can also use that spell to nerf his enemies by putting the spell on their head and canceling their power or blood demon art. Next we have Ms. Tamayo. Her blood demon art is so powerful that it can attack and manipulate both humans and demons at the same time. But we don't know how strong her blood is compared to the upper moons yet. And sadly, that's her only advantage. She doesn't have any primary attack, her body is weak, and she doesn't know how to fight. Next we have Kyogai. His primary attack is his sharp claw, and his blood demon art is very similar to Nakimi, the female demon who controls the Infinity Castle. They can both create their own domains by mixing their flesh and blood with the building and using an instrument to control it. One of his drums can create a doorway like the portal that the three-clone demon created, but this portal is a door that can switch places in this house. His other drum can change the gravity in the house, and the last one he uses as an invisible claw, which is very deadly. In that house, there were also two other demons with no blood demon art. One could use his tongue as a weapon that was as strong as a stone, and the other demon was just fat, I guess. Next, we have the spider family demon on Mount Nutagumo. The leader of the pack is Rui. He is the most powerful and feared member of the family. His primary attack is also strong, as we can see him punching Tanjiro far away without even trying. He has a blood demon art called Spider Web, which lets him create and manipulate webs of various shapes and sizes. He can use his webs to trap, cut, or strangle his enemies, as well as to create illusions or camouflage himself. He can also use his webs to fly or glide through the air. His webs are very strong and durable, and can even pierce through steel or stone. He can also use his webs to sense the presence of other demons or humans within a certain range. The reason why Rui's blood demon art is spider is because when he was a human, he was obsessed with finding bonds. So, nothing better represents a bond than a spider web, right? Blood demon art can be practiced. As you can see, his fake family's original power was not spider or web at all. But he forced them to develop their blood demon art to spider to relate to him. Next, we have the father spider. He is the second strongest member of the family. He has the blood demon art that can absorb the moonlight and grow stronger and bigger. And this form, when he fight with Inosuke and Gyu, is not even his final form yet. He can be infinite more stronger and bigger if he has more time to absorb the moonlight and transform. His venom can do all kinds of nasty things depending on how much he injects. It can make you paralyzed, hallucinate, hurt, or even die. His venom is especially deadly for humans who have not been exposed to Muzan's blood before. Next, we have the mother spider. She is the third strongest member of the family. She has a blood demon art called Spider Silk, which lets her produce and control silk from her body. She can use her silk to make all kinds of weapons or tools like needles, blades, ropes, or nets. She can also use her silk to heal herself or others by wrapping them in a cozy cocoon. But she doesn't have any strong primary attack, and she is actually just a young girl who Rui forced her to shapeshift into an older woman. Next, we have the brother spider. He is the fourth strongest member of the family. He has a blood demon art called Spider Bite, which lets him inject venom into his victims with his fangs. His venom can do all sorts of horrible things, depending on how much he injects. It can make you paralyzed, hallucinate, hurt, or even die. His venom is especially nasty for humans who have not been exposed to Muzan's blood before. But unlike his dad's venom, his venom doesn't kill you right away. It turns you into a spider-like creature that obeys him. His primary attack is that he can spit very acidic poison to melt his enemies. Last, we have the daughter. She is the fifth and weakest member of the family. She possesses the blood demon art that can trap people in silk cocoons and acid them. That is the way she eat human. That silk ball will suck out the juice and nutrients from human liquid and transfers them to her by the... Next, we have Kamanue, who was a member of the 12 Kizuki. He was the lower 6 demon. He was always nervous and restless, and he always looked scared because he was afraid of being weak and vulnerable. He had a blood demon art that let him read the thoughts of those who had his blood in them. Some fans think he also had a water-based ability, which let him control or create water with his blood. But he couldn't use it against Muzan, who could suppress his power. He was killed by Muzan after he doubted his loyalty and asked him why they shouldn't ask about the upper moons. Next, we have Mukago. She was the lower 4 of the 12 Kizuki, the strongest demons under Muzan Kibutsuji. She had a blood demon art that let her control plants and flesh. Here is how her power worked. Plant manipulation. Mukago could make and control different plants from her body, like vines, thorns, flowers, or mushrooms. She could use these plants to fight, protect, or trap her enemies. She could also use them to feel the presence of other demons or humans nearby. Flesh manipulation. Mukago could also control her own flesh and use it as a weapon or a shield. She could throw bits of her flesh that dug into people and took over them. Next is Lower Moon 3. Lower Moon 3 was called Wakuraba. He had X-shaped scars on his forehead and cheeks. He tries to run away from Muzan before he can kill him, but Muzan quickly beheads him. We never get to see Wakuraba's powers. Wakuraba's power is not very clear, as he does not have a specific name or ability related to his position. However, based on his appearance and personality, we can make some educated guesses about what he could do, like he fast and agile, and he had some kind of spiritual or religious power. The lower moon 2 is Roro. He begged Muzan not to kill him. He said he would definitely be useful to Muzan. He tells Muzan to give him more of his blood and he'll become stronger. But the fact that a lower moon would dare give him instructions only infuriates. And that was the end of the line for Wakaraba. His powers were also not revealed, unfortunately. But don't worry, we get to see all of the stronger demons beyond this point use their OP powers. Next, we have the strongest lower moon, Enmu. Enmu's power is to enter, manipulate, and control someone's dreams. He does this by using his blood demon art, which lets him make and control threads from his body. He uses his threads to connect with his victims' minds and destroy their spiritual core, which is the source of their life force and personality. By doing this, he makes them lose their will to live and become mindless puppets that follow his orders. Besides his blood demon art, he mastered the power of using demon flesh to mix with big objects, like the train that we see in the Mugen Train arc. He also has a manipulating skill, or we can say the reverse psychology, that he used on Muzan to make Muzan impressed and keep him alive. No wonder he is the lower moon 1. Let's move on to the upper moon. The first upper moon we discovered was Daki and Gyutaro, the upper moon 6. They are two powerful demons who share the same body and blood. They are the second and third holders of the upper moon 6 rank, in that order. They have super strength, speed, regeneration, and durability thanks to Muzan's blood. They also have a unique ability called obi-sash manipulation, which lets them make flower-patterned sashes from their flesh that they can use to attack, defend, or capture people. Daki can also turn any part of her body into a sash that is hard to cut. And then there's Gyutaro's powers. Gyutaro was already good at using a sickle, and his demon powers make him even better. He can use his flesh and blood to make sickles that have deadly poison on them. He can throw countless blood blades at his enemies. He can also take over his sister's body and make awesome tag team attacks. After Daki and Gyutaro died, Muzan replaced them with Kaigaku. He was Zenitsu Agatsuma's senior disciple under the former Thunder Hashira, Jigoro Kuwajima. He could use thunder breathing, a sword technique that let him move and attack with lightning speed and power. He could also make thunderclaps with his sword that could paralyze his enemies. Kaigaku's power came from his greed and ambition, which made him betray his master and fellow demon slayers. He gave up to Kokushibo, the upper rank one who gave him Muzan's blood and a spot among the 12 Kazuki. He ate many humans and became strong enough to take over Daki and Gyutaro's place as the new upper rank 6. Next we have Gyoko, the upper moon 5. He has a blood demon art that lets him control water and make different kinds of art with it. He can use his water to make pots that he can jump in or out of, and also call fish-like demons that can fight or catch his enemies. He has a lot of power created by his blood demon art, like the giant octopus, the water trap, and assassin golden fish who spit the poison needle. He can transform to a final form which is faster and stronger. If his hand touch anything, it will turn into fish. Next we have Huntengu, the upper moon 4. He has a blood demon art that lets him split his body into many clones, each with a different emotion and personality. These clones are anger, pleasure, sorrow, joy, hatred, fear, and rage. Each clone looks different and has different skills and weapons that match their emotion. For example, anger has a staff with lightning bolts, pleasure has a fan that makes wind, Nwaknan sorrow has a spear to stab people's heart, joy has sound attacks that can break glass and bones, Zohakuten has drums that can control trees and things. Huntengu's power comes from his blood demon art, which lets him change his emotions and make clones from them. He can also use his clones to fight for him, or take them back into himself. But he can't control his clones all the time. They have their own minds and personalities. Sometimes they work with him, sometimes they work against him, sometimes they even fight him. After Huntengu died, Muzan replaced him with Nakime, the emotionless Cyclops musician. She has a blood demon art that lets her move her building as if it were her own limbs. Her powers are not very lethal, but they make her hard to beat. She is like a better version of Kyogai, the former Lower Moon 6 demon. While Kyogai controlled his house, Nakimi controls a huge interdimensional fortress. She can bring anyone she wants into the fortress, and she can make doors that teleport wherever she wants. She can use these doors to send her enemies away if they attack her. She can also make many eyeballs from her body and use them to spy on people from far away. This power let her find many demon slayers in Japan. She even found the secret mansion of Kaguya Ubuyashiki, which was one of the best hidden secrets in the world for a long time. Next is Upper Moon 3 Akaza. Akaza's main power is his blood demon art that lets him turn his blood into shockwaves that can destroy anything they hit. He can make different attacks with this power, like shockwave art. Akaza hits the air with his bare fist and makes a blue light show. He moves so fast that he can hit his enemies many times in a second. Shockwave. Fist. Akaza punches the ground with his fist and makes a big shockwave that can break rocks and trees. He can also use this to fly into the air or to fight back from far away. Shockwave wave. Akaza claps his hands together and makes a huge shockwave that can knock down buildings and mountains. He can also use this to make a wall of shockwaves around himself or to block incoming attacks. Akaza's power comes from his blood demon art, which lets him change his blood and make shockwaves from it. He can also use his shockwaves to make himself stronger, faster, tougher, and heal faster. Akaza is the only one who has the strongest primary attack because he is a martial arts when he was a human. He also kills 17 people with bare hand as a human. Upper Moon 2 was Doma, the eccentric cult leader demon. He was born with rainbow-colored eyes and was groomed to be the religious leader of the Eternal Paradise cult. His father kept making love to his female cult followers, and as a result, Doma's mother stabbed him to death. She went crazy and killed herself with poison. Doma wasn't concerned about his parents being dead, though. He was concerned about the mess his mother made in the room. Not for a moment did he feel sad or lonely. Human emotions were nothing to him even before he became a demon. He was officially turned into a demon by Muzan at the age of 20. As a demon cult leader, he was very busy. He did not sleep with his cult followers, but he devoured them. He turned Gyutaru and Daki into demons at some point. He also met Inosuke. Inosuke's mother escaped to the Eternal Paradise cult to protect her and her baby son from an abusive household. Doma actually intended to let her live out her lifespan and not eat her. She was beautiful and had a great singing voice. However, she discovered that Doma was eating other followers. She fled and dropped baby Inosuke off a cliff before Doma caught up and killed her. Doma thought that the baby was dead, but Inosuke was a survivor and lived on, like in the Jungle Book. Then came the time when he killed Kaneye Kochu, the flower pillar. That was the beginning of his downfall. Kane's younger sister, Shinobu Kochu, the insect pillar, swore revenge for her sister's death. And she got it. She filled her body with custom poison and let Doma eat her. The poison weakened him so much that the adoptive sister of Kane and Shinobu could finish him off with Inosuke's help. This is one of the best revenge arcs I've seen in anime, and it makes this fight one of my favorites. Doma's demon powers allow him to create ice and frost by using his own flesh and blood. He uses two fans to help channel his ice powers. He can create ice clones of himself to fight for him. For his strongest attack, he can create a giant bodhisattva statue out of ice. This statue can attack enemies, and it produces deadly cold air that can freeze opponents. However, he waited too long to use this attack. And since he was so weakened by the poison, Doma and his OP giant ice statue were defeated. The most formidable of all is Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, the six-eyed samurai. He was once a demon slayer named Michikatsu Tsugikuni, who fathered a child that carried on his lineage for generations. His descendant, the pillar Muichiro Tokito, inherited his blood and talent. Kokushibo bore the mark that greatly enhanced his abilities, but he also learned that the marked ones would perish before their 25th birthday. Those who survived past that age would soon meet their end. To escape this fate and gain more power, he became a demon and reigned as the invincible #1 moon for centuries. What makes him even more fascinating is that he wields the breath of the moon in combat. He is so formidable that he has been overpowering Gyomai, the strongest pillar, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Genya. Even with their demon slayer marks activated, Gyomai and Sanemi are struggling to match the moon breath user's speed and skill as of chapter 172. His sword slashes are accompanied by numerous crescent moon-shaped blades that vary in size and length. This gives his attacks more power, range, and unpredictability. His sword is composed of his own flesh and has multiple eyes on it that enhance his vision. Since it is part of his body, it can heal when damaged or even transform. Despite being outnumbered, Kokushibo is not going down without a fight. Some speculate that he is the brother of the first Breath of the Sun user, since they bear a striking resemblance. Or maybe Breath of the Sun becomes Breath of the Moon when one turns into a demon. As we have learned, the sun and demons are mortal enemies. All we can say is that he is insanely powerful and a worthy adversary for the strongest pillar. I would not be shocked if he had Hashirama cells in his veins. Last but not least, we have our Demon King Muzan himself. He has a blood demon art that lets him change his own body and blood, which he calls biokinesis. He can change his shape, size, strength, speed, regeneration, and durability as he likes. He has many tails like a scorpion that allowed him to attack his enemies from other side because each tail has its own eyes. Muzan is also good at fighting with his hands and his sword. He can also use any part of his body to eat his prey, which is human and demon. So that's all for today's video, and only a small % of people that watching my video are actually subscribed. So if you end up liking this video, please consider subscribing. It's free, and you can always change your mind.